Hello, Dee. Hello, those who are joining. How's my audio video? Can you hear me? All right, let's get started. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sukho viveko tuttassa sutta dhammassa passato avyapajjang sukhang loke pana bhutesu samyamo sukha viragata loke kamanang samattikamo asmimanasayo vinayo etang ve paramang sukhang sabbang paravassang dukkang sabbang sariyang sukhang Sadharane vihanyati yoga hidoratikamati dukadayo jahe arakatena kayena michaditi gatena chatina midda vibhutena vasangmarasa gacchati tasmara kitta chittassa sammasankappa gocharo sammaditi purekaro natvana udayabbayang tina midda vibhubiku sabba gudugatteyo jaheti sukarang sadhuna sadhu sadhu papena dukarang papang papena sukarang papang ariyehi dukarang. English. Blissful is detachment for one who is content, for one who has learned Dhamma and who sees. Blissful is freedom from anger in the world, restraint towards living creatures. Blissful is passionlessness in the world, the overcoming of sensual desires, but the abolishing of the conceit I am, that is truly the highest bliss. All subjection to another is painful, full mastery is bliss, partners share in affliction, bonds are difficult to overcome. Forsake bad destinations. With an unguarded body and encumbered by wrong views, overcome by lethargy and torpor, one goes along in the power of Mara. So let one's mind be guarded, let one's domain be right thought. By putting right view to the forefront, by understanding rise and fall, and by overcoming lethargy and torpor, a bhikkhu will forsake all bad destinations. For the good to do what is good is easy, for the bad to do what is good is difficult, for the bad to do what is bad is easy, for the noble to do what is bad is difficult. All right, friends. Let's see. Hello, Gray. So we are going to now get into our meditation. So close your eyes, set your body up in whatever comfortable and stable position works for you. Whether you're sitting on a cushion or chair. You can start by doing the mindful scan of the body, starting from your feet, moving up to the head, adjusting your posture as needed. Whenever you're done scanning through your body, you can move onto following the breath, taking your 3 deep breaths, letting the breath go. Remember to lay down your burdens. Stick with the breath. Remember, whenever you get distracted away from the breath, acknowledge, let go, and return. Keep coming back to the breath. The breath is home base. It's always there, doing its job, ready for you to follow it towards a more calm and tranquil mind. From here on in, we will practice metta. So we will begin by visualizing a sphere of metta, a circle around your body like a balloon or a bubble. And as we say the words of metta, we will pervade and fill up that sphere with our goodwill and friendliness. We'll start by practicing metta towards ourselves before expanding out towards all beings. So visualize your sphere. If you like, you can visualize yourself in front of you, like looking in the mirror. And repeat these words of metta. May I find happiness. May I find peace. May I live in friendship with all beings. May I find release from suffering. Fill that sphere of metta. As you say these words, they're not meant to be a mantra, just something that you repeat over and over. Whenever you say words of metta in your mind, you want to do so with an honest and sincere wish, like saying these words to a best friend or a close family member. May I find happiness. May I find peace. May I live in friendship with each other, with all beings. May I find release from suffering. May I find happiness. May I find peace. May I live in friendship with all beings. May I find release from suffering. May I find happiness. May I find peace. May I live in friendship with all beings. May I find release from suffering. We'll now begin to spread our sphere out like a balloon growing larger, encompassing the entirety of whatever building you are in, and whatever beings there may be in there, human, animal, insect, seen and unseen. Every being in the building pervaded and filled with your goodwill and friendliness. May all of us in this building find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. Spread your sphere out to encompass the entirety of whatever town, village, city that you're in. All the beings within that boundary, completely encompassed and pervaded with your goodwill and friendliness. May all of us in this town find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. Spread your sphere out to encompass the entirety of whatever state, region, or province you're in. Repeat the words. May all of us in this region find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. Spread your sphere out to encompass whatever country you're in. May all of us in this country find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. Spread your sphere out to encompass the entirety of our home planet, the Earth, completely encompassing and pervading all the beings on the planet with your goodwill. May all of us on this planet find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. Spread your sphere out into the cosmos, encompassing the entirety of the Milky Way galaxy, hundreds of billions of stars and planets. Who knows how many beings? Whatever beings there may be. May all of us in the Milky Way find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. Spread your sphere out into the cosmos, encompassing the entirety of the known universe and beyond, wherever beings in the samsaric state may be. Spreading your sphere out into infinity, encompassing all these beings. May all of us, everywhere, find happiness. May all of us find peace. May all of us live in friendship with each other. May all of us find release from suffering. Slowly open your eyes, coming back through the universe to the room that you're in, your body's position in it. It's Monday night, friends, and that means it's time for Maggaseka, the festival of Dhamma with the Maggaseka community. We've already done a little chanting, we've done some meditation, and now we'll see how things go for the rest of the session. If you have any questions, you can put those in the chat at any time. If there's no questions right off, we'll probably just read a sutta and go from there. But you can put a question anytime that you like in the chat. Hello, Catherine. And hello, Michelle. Catherine, is this your first time on here? Or do I know you? The name maybe rings a bell, but also not much. Maybe a long time ago. Oh, hello, Jay. Welcome. Last week we finished the shorter discourse on the elephant's footprint. And this week we have the longer one. But actually, I think it actually might be shorter. There's once or twice I've seen that in the suttas where the longer discourse is technically shorter than the shorter discourse. Then maybe after the discourse, we'll do some sutta roulette, see what comes up. All right. Share screen. The longer simile of the elephant's footprint. So I have heard at one time the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. There, Sariputta addressed the mendicants. Reverends, mendicants. Reverend, they replied. Sariputta said this: the footprints of all creatures that walk can fit inside an elephant's footprint. So an elephant's footprint is said to be the biggest of them all. In the same way, all skillful qualities are included in the Four Noble Truths. What for? The Noble Truth of suffering, the origin of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the practice that leads to the cessation of suffering. And what is the Noble Truth of suffering? Rebirth is suffering, old age is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow, lamentation, pain, sadness, and distress are suffering. Not getting what you wish for is suffering. In brief, the 5 grasping aggregates are suffering. And what are the 5 grasping aggregates? They are as follows. The grasping aggregates of form, feeling, perception, choices, and consciousness. And what is the grasping aggregate of form? The 4 principal states and form derived from the 4 principal states. And what are the 4 principal states? The elements of earth, water, fire, and air. And what is the earth element? The earth element may be interior or exterior. So this interior, exterior, you see this in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta. Right? What this is meaning, interior is meaning this body and mind. Exterior is outside of that. And what is the interior earth element? Anything internal, that's going to explain it. Anything internal, personal, that's hard, solid, and appropriated. Usually it doesn't explain it, so I feel like I have to, but this sutta is. Very good. Sadhu. That includes head hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, intestines, mesentery, undigested food. Do we know this list? Feces or anything else internal, personal, that's hard, solid, and appropriated. this is called the interior earth element. The interior earth element and the exterior earth element are just the earth element. This should be truly seen with right understanding like this. This is not mine. I am not this. This is not myself. When you truly see with right understanding, you grow disillusioned with the earth element, detaching the mind from the earth element. There comes a time when the exterior water element flares up. At that time, the exterior earth element vanishes. So for all its great age, the earth element will be revealed as impermanent, liable to extend, vanish, and perish. It's kind of like the high tide, right? The earth element is the water element flares up and the earth element vanishes. What then of this ephemeral body, appropriated by craving rather than I, mine, or I am, they consider to be none of these things? So the Buddha is basically, kind of talking about geologic scales, and then saying, well, what if this body, like the change in what you can see in the body is much shorter time scales and much smaller scale. If others abuse, attack, harass, and trouble that mendicant, they understand. This painful feeling, born of earth contact or ear contact, has arisen in me. That's dependent, not independent. Dependent on what? Dependent on contact. They see that contact, feeling, perception, choices, and consciousness are impermanent. Based on that earth element alone, their mind leaps forth, gains confidence, and settles down, and becomes decided. Others might treat that mendicant with disliking, loathing, and detestation, striking them with fists, stones, sticks, and swords. They understand this body is such that fists, stones, sticks, and swords strike it. But the Buddha has said in the advice to the simile of the saw, even if low-down bandits were to sever you limb from limb with a two-handed saw, anyone who has malevolent thought on that account would not be following my instructions. My energy shall be roused up and unflagging, my mindfulness established and lucid, my body tranquil and undisturbed, and my mind immersed in samadhi and unified. Gladly now, let fists, stones, sticks, and swords strike this body, for this is how the instructions of the Buddha are followed. While recollecting the Buddha, the teaching, and the Sangha in this way, equanimity based on the skillful may not become stabilized in them. In that case, they stir up a sense of urgency. It's my loss, it's my misfortune, that while recollecting the Buddha, the teaching, and the Sangha in this way, equanimity based on the skillful did not become established in me, or stabilized in me. They're like a daughter-in-law who stirs up a sense of urgency when they see their father-in-law. But if, while recollecting the Buddha, the teaching, and the Sangha, in this way, equanimity based on skillful does become stabilized in them. They're happy with that. At this point, much has been done by that mendicant. And what is the water element? The water element may be interior or exterior. And what is the interior water element? Anything internal, personal, that's water, watery, and appropriated. That includes bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, saliva, snot, synovial fluid, urine, or anything else internal, personal, that's water, watery, and appropriated. This is called the interior water element. Oh, Catherine Wasabi-chan, that's right. Okay. Oh, it's good to see you again. It's been a little while. Gregory, is this a second walk for peace? I know the original one because I've met the monk that's been doing it for years, and each time more monks go with him. So I met him at Empty Cloud because he knows Bante and I are there. So if there's a second one, I've not heard about this one. I don't really know a lot of information about the main one. Um, haven't been watching the news or anything, so I don't know. Just what people ask me about or I see occasionally on Facebook or something like that. This is called the interior water element. The interior water element and the exterior water element are just the water element. This should be truly seen with right understanding as this. This is not mine. I am not this. This is not myself. See what the Buddha is doing there. Internal water element, external water element. It's all water. You identify with the internal. This is my blood. Right? My liquid. But it's just water. The Buddha's making a point here. When you truly see with right understanding, you grow disillusioned with the water element, detaching the mind from the water element. There comes a time when the exterior water element flares up. It sweeps away villages, towns, cities, countries, regions. You need to have metta for those villages, towns, cities, countries, and regions, just like we were doing. There comes a time when the water in the ocean sinks down 100 leagues, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 700 leagues. Right? There comes a time when the water stands just 7 palm trees deep, or 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or even just 1 palm tree deep. There comes a time when the water in the ocean stands just 7 fathoms deep, or 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, even 1 fathom deep. There comes a time when the water in the ocean stands just a half a fathom deep, or waist deep, or knee deep, or even ankle deep. There comes a time when there's not even enough water left in the great ocean to wet the tip of the toe. So for all its great age, the water element will be revealed as impermanent, liable to end, vanish, and perish. What then of this ephemeral body appropriated by craving? Rather than I, mine, or I am, they consider it to be none of these things. If while recollecting the Buddha, the teaching in the Sangha in this way, equanimity based on skillful does become stabilized in them, they're happy with that. At this point, much has been done by that mendicant. And what is the fire element? The fire element may be interior or exterior. And what is the interior fire element? Anything internal pertaining to an individual's, that's fire, fiery and appropriated. That includes that which warms, that which ages, that which heats you up when feverish, that which properly digests food and drink, or anything else internal, personal, that's fire, fiery, appropriated. This is called the interior fire element. The interior fire element and the exterior fire element are just the fire element. This should be truly seen with right understanding like this. This is not mine, I am not this, this is not myself. When you truly see with right understanding, you grow disillusioned with the fire element, detaching the mind from the fire element. There comes a time when the exterior fire element flares up. It burns up villages, towns, cities, countries, and regions until it reaches a green field, a roadside cliff, a cliff's edge, a body of water, or a cleared parkland where it's extinguished due to not being fed. There comes a time when they go looking for a fire, taking just a chicken feather or a scrap of sinew as kindling. So for all its great age, the fire element will be revealed as impermanent, liable to end, vanish, and perish. What then of this ephemeral body appropriated by craving? Rather than I, mine, or I am, they consider it to be none of these things. If while recollecting the Buddha, the teaching, and the Sangha in this way, equanimity based on the skillful does become stabilized in them, they're happy with that. At this point, much has been done by that mendicant. And what is the air element? The air element may be interior or exterior. And what is the interior air element? Anything internal, personal, that's air, airy, and appropriated. That includes winds that go up and down, winds in the belly or the bowels, winds that flow through the limbs, in-breaths and out-breaths, or anything else internal, personal, that's air, airy, and appropriated. This is called the interior air element. The interior air element and the exterior air element are just air element. This should be truly seen with right understanding like this. This is not mine, I am not this is not myself. When you truly see with right understanding, you grow disillusioned with the air element, detaching the mind from the air element. There comes a time when the exterior air element flares up. It sweeps away villages, towns, cities, countries, and regions like a hurricane. There comes a time in the last month of the summer when they look for wind by using palm leaf or fan, and even the grasses in the drip fringe of a thatch roof don't stir. All right, so there's two kind of extremes, right? There's the extreme of like a hurricane, and there's the extreme of in this period of summer where there's not even a little wind. So for all its great age, the air element will be revealed as impermanent, liable to end, vanish, and perish. What then of this ephemeral body, appropriated by craving, rather than I, mine, or I am? They consider it to be none of these things. If others abuse, attack, harass, and trouble that mendicant, they understand. This painful feeling born of your contact has arisen in me. That's dependent, not independent. Dependent on what? Dependent on contact. They see that contact, feeling, perception, choices, and consciousness are impermanent. Based on that element alone, their minds leap forth, gain confidence, settle down, and becomes decided. Others might treat that mendicant with disliking, loathing, and detestation, striking them with fists, stones, sticks, and swords. They understand this body is such that fists, stones, sticks, and swords strike it. But the Buddha said in the advice to the simile of the saw, even if low down bandits were to sever you limb from limb with a two-handed saw, anyone who had a thought of hate on that account would not be following my instructions. My energy shall be roused up and unflagging, my mindfulness established and lucid, my body tranquil and undisturbed, and my mind immersed in samadhi. Gladly now that fists, stones, sticks, and swords strike this body, for this is how the instructions of the Buddha are followed. Yeah, Jay, I heard that a local news Fox affiliate or whatever had like a half-hour Dhamma talk that they aired, which is wild. That's quite nice. You hear like news is airing like a Dhamma talk from a Buddhist monk. I quite like that. This is a good time for Buddhists in the country to strike, to spread awareness and get more people who want to hear the Dhamma. Okay? All right. While recollecting the Buddha, the teaching, and the Sangha in this way, equanimity based on the skillful may not become stabilized in them. In that case, they stir up a sense of urgency. It's my loss, it's my misfortune that while recollecting the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha in this way, equanimity based on the skillful does not become stabilized in me. They're like a daughter-in-law who stirs up a sense of urgency when they see their father-in-law. But if, while recollecting the Buddha, the teaching, and the Sangha in this way, equanimity based on the skillful does become stabilized in them, they're happy with that. At this point, much has been done by the mendicant. When a space is enclosed by sticks, creepers, grass, and mud, it becomes known as a building. In the same way, when a space is enclosed by bone, sinew, flesh, and skin, it becomes known as form. Reverence, though the interior eye is intact, so long as exterior sights don't come into range, and there's no corresponding engagement, there's no manifestation of the corresponding type of consciousness. Though the interior eye is intact and exterior sights come into range, so long as there's no corresponding engagement, there's no manifestation of the corresponding type of consciousness. But when the interior eye is intact and exterior sights come into range and there is corresponding engagement, there is the manifestation of the corresponding type of consciousness. The form produced in this way is included in the grasping aggregate of form. The feeling, perception, choices, and consciousness produced in this way are each included in the corresponding grasping aggregate. They understand. So this is how there comes to be a inclusion, gathering together, and assimilation into these 5 grasping aggregates. But the Buddha has said, one who sees dependent origination sees the teaching. One who sees the teaching sees dependent origination. And to add to that, the Buddha says, this is the Dhamma, right? One who sees the Dhamma, one who sees dependent origination sees the Dhamma. One who sees the Dhamma sees dependent origination. Buddha also says, one who sees the Dhamma sees me. One who sees me sees the Dhamma. Right? So this is they're all connected. They're all one thing, like the elephant's footprint. And these 5 grasping aggregates are indeed dependently originated. The desire, clinging, attraction, and attachment for these 5 grasping aggregates is the origin of suffering. Giving up and getting rid of desire and greed for these 5 grasping aggregates is the cessation of suffering. At this point, much has been done by that mendicant. Though the ear, nose, tongue, body, mind is intact internally, so long as exterior ideas don't come into range, and there's no corresponding engagement, there's no manifestation of by corresponding type of consciousness. Though the mind is intact internally and exterior ideas come into range, so long as there's no corresponding engagement, there's no manifestation of the corresponding type of consciousness. But when the mind is intact internally and exterior ideas come into range and there is corresponding engagement, there is the manifestation of the corresponding type of consciousness. The form produced in this way is included in the grasping aggregate of form. The feeling, perception, choices, and consciousness produced in the way are each included in the corresponding grasping aggregates. They understand. So this is how there comes to be inclusion, gathering together, and assimilation of these 5 grasping aggregates. But the Buddha also said, one who sees dependent origination sees the teaching. One who sees the teaching sees dependent origination. And these 5 aggregates are indeed dependently originated. The desire, clinging, attraction, and attachment for these 5 grasping aggregates is the origin of suffering. Giving up and getting rid of desire and greed for these 5 grasping aggregates is the cessation of suffering. At this point, much has been done by the mendicant. That's what Venerable Sariputta said. Satisfied, the mendicants approved of what Sariputta said. Sadhu. Just reading the chat. What did the Buddha say? Am I waiting for a quote? It won't let me paste and send the message. Yeah, Didi, this is a more subtle sutta for sure. That's okay. Ah, hello, Lorraine. Choices is the more modern way of translating mental formations, using a word that's a bit more understandable for the average person. Bhikkhu Bodhi uses volitional formations, I believe, in the sutta translations. Um, and this is volitional formations is essentially choices. Volition, will, choosing, formations, creation of mental, you know, activity. So volitional formations and choices are basically this meaning the same exact thing. Hello, Tom. Welcome. Hello, Bisabanyo. Bisabanjo. I don't know. Have we met? Is this your first time? Have we met before? I think maybe we have, but again, it might have been a while. So Jay, actually, here at the Indonesian Vihara, that was my talk on Sunday, yesterday. I gave a talk about how Buddhists engage with the world in terms of sharing Buddhism. The Buddha set the example for this. When the first 60 arahants arose in the world, and he said for them to go out for the welfare of the many folk, not two in the same direction. Right? But these monks didn't go out like preaching. They went out being very dignified, powerful, awakened beings. And people saw this and they're like, who is their teacher? We must know. And so it wasn't by anything that these monks said, it was by how they lived, how they acted, who they were, that people were attracted to that and asked them questions, and that's how they found out. Because there is a rule for monks that we can't just teach the Dhamma to anybody, we have to be asked. I mean, like, basically, right now, you're logged on to my stream, so that's technically asking. Right? If you didn't want to hear anything from me, you wouldn't log on to the stream. So, but, in terms of just random people out in public, unless they have questions that they want me to answer, I'm not going to talk to them about Dhamma. Hello, James. Well, YouTube did this change where I think that it just shows me automatically what the account name is, as opposed to, I guess, a name that you can kind of choose, like change your name around on your profile or whatever. I don't know if you also see that or not, but it's confusing for me. I'm not a big fan of it, and I've heard other YouTubers also complain about it. Tom, we read. Actually, I renamed the title of this stream, so you should see it in the stream title and the link to that sutta in the description now. Any other questions? Requests for talking about a subject? Anything that you'd like to discuss? We have we are coming close to the end, but we still have some time. We usually knock out about 8:30 and it's 8:07. We might have some time to do some sutta roulette. That's not how it works, my friend. I mean that might be how it works on my YouTube channel, but not out in public. There's many reasons why Buddhism has a big pass in the West. You know, in America, Buddhism, even people who are atheists and who really hate religion, a lot of times they still kind of give Buddhism a pass. You know, and that's because Buddhism is kind of seen as, you know, wise and peace loving. And that's obviously not always the case. Buddhists are humans just like everybody else, and Buddhist countries have lots of problems. But still, Buddhism has a good reputation in the West. Ooh. Two good questions. So, Bhante, will I eventually face a limit on deeper states if due to my health I'm able to sit for no longer than 45 minutes? Does that include in a chair? Are you unable to sit in a chair for no more than 45 minutes? Didi, yes, I'm gonna be here in New York City until about March 1st. So I have another month and 10 days here. Yeah, that includes 45 minutes on a chair. Yes and no. What I would say is it might be a barrier to extremely deep, subtle practice. But you're by that point you'd be extremely advanced, and you don't know how the mind and the body reacts to that. So it might not be an issue. You know that you're thinking about it now. But what I would say is, if you do you sit for 45 minutes, then you walk for 45 minutes, and you sit for 45 minutes, that even though you're walking, you're still building like tranquility of mind. You're focusing your mindfulness in, and that can, make it so that maybe you don't sit for hours and hours, but because you've been doing this cycle, moving and sitting and doing these two different modes, but also modes that are very similar and are moving to the same point, then, maybe by the third time you sit or the second time you sit, all of a sudden very calm, very peaceful, and you don't waste time, right? If the conditions are right, you don't need more than like 20, 30 minutes to go deep. You really don't. But that's because of all the previous conditioning, the sense restraint and the satipatthana, the mindfulness, all of that is the preliminary, setting the groundwork. So for when you sit, not a lot of wasted time, not a lot of chatty mind, all of that is gone. So that can waste half a meditation session, just kind of working through all of that. I would even say walk for 45 minutes. If you're just thinking walking is just like a break from sitting, then you're not going to take it as serious. Walking meditation is as serious as sitting meditation for developing the path. You can think of them as like two sides of the same coin of practice. As a matter of fact, I would even suggest doing walking meditation first, because walking meditation can help calm the mind, and then you can sit. The way I talk, the simile I use is like coming in for an airplane. You do walking meditation, and you start out just like most people do, kind of mind agitated, thinking about what happened the day, or what you have to do for the day, all this stuff, yada yada yada. But as you're walking, that starts to calm down, and then your mind is calm and tranquil, and you just come in for a nice gentle landing, go and sit, and all that preliminary junk is gone, and you just focus on the breath and start going deep. There's nothing that says stream entry requires jhana. There are some traditions and teachers who say that, but that's not in the suttas. So it depends on who you listen to, what answer you're going to get. I don't think I said that the ability to sit is required for jhana. What I said was, I don't think anybody would actually be able to be in jhana outside of sitting, except for maybe people who have mastered it. Like, I believe it's possible, like, you could be in jhana while you're in walking meditation. Some people say that's possible. Some people say it's not possible at all, even if you're a master of it. But I think you could be in jhana if you are a master of jhanas. You've practiced it very much. You've been in it a lot. You've developed it. You know it in and out. You could probably, I bet, be in maybe not the fourth jhana, but probably the first jhana while you're walking. Again, this would be a very advanced mastery, right? Not even just people who can just basically just get into their first jhana. No. So have you heard this from me? Because I do say this. It was a surprise when I read it in a sutta, like a faith follower becoming sotapanna. But yeah, faith follower is not really going to become a non-returner or a once returner, but a stream enter, yeah. You have the faith follower has such strong faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. There's no doubt about the things that the average person would have doubt in. That the average person has to actually do a lot of practice to see for themselves, to believe, right? So if you have the faith, it's kind of an end run. It's kind of a a quick in. But I also, my thoughts about faith followers is that they have lifetimes of practice, right? So like they don't have to go through like learning everything and gaining faith in everything. It's like they're just kind of, and I think most faith followers are born in Buddhist countries because they're faith followers. So it's like their karma brings them to a Buddhist country. Though I have met one or two Western faith followers, and but yeah. You asked if the body immune to damage and harm in deep state of jhanas. Again, that's a very debatable thing. Different people will say different things. I don't recall it being generally accepted that the body is literally impervious during jhana. But if you were harmed, you would probably not feel it, at least in like the fourth jhana. So I think that's a specific question, or it's probably too specific to have an actual answer for about the blood clots in the veins and all that. Jay, this is the interesting thing. I believe Buddha was going to teach anyway, but he needed to be asked. So Brahma Sahampati asked for the world, right? Again, the Buddha set the bar, right? The Buddha set the example. The Buddha didn't teach until he was asked, even though he was a Sammasambuddha. So to be quite honest with you, a Buddha literally not noticing that there are people with little dust in their eyes and needing a Brahma to tell him that, I don't think so. I think it was like a formal thing, right? That the Buddha needed to be formally asked, and then he started. Or at the very least, maybe he didn't need it, but he wanted it to be that way, kind of like above board kind of a thing. Lorraine asked, what extent does stream entry require to let go of self-view? A decent amount. But until you're an arahant, you still have some kind of like the conceit I am, right? So you haven't fully understood anatta until you've become an arahant. But what a stream enter has abandoned is the fetter of Sakkaya Ditthi, identity view, right? This is me, this is mine, this is myself. the way I kind of think about it and the way I kind of describe it is like a stream mentor has gotten to the point where they've searched maybe and they've not seen that there's a me, mine, or myself and anything that they're able to examine, but they still have that conceit I am. They still feel like, yeah, but there's still kind of a self, there's still a permanent essence, there's still something there. And it's only until an awakened being when that's finally destroyed. Don't the suttas say there is no wisdom? No, it's not. How did Bhante Gunaratana translate? It's not jhana, it's samadhi. There's no concentration without wisdom, no wisdom without concentration. One who is both wisdom and concentration is close to awakening, close to emancipation. Jhana is the pinnacle of samadhi, obviously, but so it's basically right. But that's at the highest level. One can be like more inclined towards mindfulness and walking meditation and things like that, and not as inclined towards practices that develop samadhi. But eventually they get to the point where they have samadhi. Like the Buddha called the mind states of samatha, calm, tranquility, and vipassana, seeing deeply, to a swift pair of messengers. They go together. When a person reaches, no matter what their proclivity, no matter what their tendencies, when they reach a certain point, they have both. So I think that's what that statement is talking about, high-end transcendence, not just like, the average person kind of, or even like a decently advanced around, meditator. What did you heard from Ajahn Brahmali or Ajahn Brahm? What was it? Ajahn Brahmali is one of my favorite monks alive these days, and I've had the pleasure both to spend a week with him in Australia and a night with him in India. We were both in India in the same town at the same time, so I think there's some karma between us, which allows me to have contact with him. And he's also graciously he is allows me to email him when I need I have questions and things like that. So he's a great monk. I quite like him. A very humble monk. I think it's romantic that we've had past life experiences with the Dhamma. I'm about 99% sure I've been a monk before. So I've definitely had past experience with the Dhamma. But I'm not a faith follower, so by my own kind of estimations, I probably don't have that much experience that I can just be born with basically instant faith. So about Ananda, You can read this. If you go to Mahaparinibbana Sutta in the Digha Nikaya, you can read. The Buddha kind of sets Ananda up to be the fall guy a little bit. Because the Buddha kind of is like giving hints to Ananda that because the Buddha says he's gonna renounce the life essence and have his parinibbana. And if Ananda had responded in a certain way, he would have stuck around for maybe, until the end of a life. So maybe like another 40 years, basically, like 120, something like that. But because Ananda didn't kind of get the gist, get the hint, the Buddha ended renounced his life continuum. And there have been some people throughout Buddhist history who have, kind of been agitated at Ananda for that. But, again, the Buddha knew what he was doing. Buddha's the Sammasan Buddha. He knew what he was doing. It was time. Okay, the faith follower lease is Sotipanna. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, it's 8:30, at least for me, and it's very good. Thank you all. So let's do. I'm going to do final business, and we'll do sharing of merits, and then we'll call it a night. Very good activity, questions, and everything. Good discussion. So just for those of you who might be watching this in some time, and you might be new, and you'd like to learn more about myself and the aspiring Buddhist organization that technically exists, but is still in process a little bit, Maggaseka, then you can go to maggaseka.org, maggaseka.org, and find out about myself and the organization. Oh. Dukkha patta chani dukkha, bhaya patta chani bhaya, soka patta chani soka, hontu sabbe pipanino, etavata chamehi sampatang punya sampatang, sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya, akasata chabumata deva naga mahitika punyang tang anumoditva, charang rakantu sasanang. May the suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit of ours that we thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas, nagas, and yakas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddhist dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, friends, we've come to the end of another Dhammapalooza. So, Sukhi Hotu, may you be happy and at ease. Practice well and be well, and may you have a spiritually successful and peaceful practice until we meet again, which could be tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for a morning monastery experience, Monday through Friday, or perhaps Saturday on Insight Timer, Sunday in the Discord for Sutta reading with Aya Sudhamma and Venerable Pasanna and the community on the Discord, or if I'm alive, next Monday for another Dhammapalooza. So have a good weekend, or have a good week, friends.